Hey everyone, it's Nadia from liadiadesigns and I'm back with another tutorial. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I have these really pretty glass, let's see what they're called, German glass glitter, and they're from Just Resin, so justresin.com and .australia. So I ordered these probably going back to maybe November is when I ordered them. And we've had some delays in getting things internationally here in Canada due to some issues on our west coast. So there were some delays, but they're finally here and I'm ready to try them out. So like I said, they're glass glitter and I bought a bunch of colors, but I want to try these for today. So I have these ones. So there's like I think it's like a pearl. Oh, actually, it's a white, sorry, silver. And then I have a pink silver. I have a seashell and the fuchsia. So I want to try these four today. And what I want to try is I actually have these coasters that I've already poured some black resin in. And I was going to use them for something else, but I'm going to delay that for another time. So I figure I'll use it for these. And it doesn't really matter in terms of these coasters what the base color is going to be because we're going to be covering it completely in these glitters. So, and like I said, these pours weren't perfect anyway, so I was going to end up covering them, so no big deal. And again, this is another technique that, you know, if you have a pour that didn't work out the way you wanted and you just want a way to kind of save the coaster or the pour, so this way, you know, you still make something really pretty or something you can sell with it, this may be another option for you. So as you can see, the resin's already cured in here and the mold is not full. Like it's only about a third of the way full. So we have lots of room in here to work. So what I want to do is create kind of a modern design with them. And I'm going to be using my Serenade Relief outliners today. I have these here as well. These are nail tape. I don't know if many of you will recognize it, but it's really thin tape. I have used them before on a previous tutorial. And I don't know if I'm able to find the end on it now because they're really thin. So there you go. So that is what it looks like there. And these are really thin. And you could actually, in my previous tutorial, I did use them to create a design with them. And you could do the same here for what we're doing. I won't be using them just because I think they're a little bit flat for, like I want something with more dimension for this one, just because I'm going to be using the glass glitter and I just want to use the outliners as kind of a wall for keeping the glass glitters in place. So, but if you wanted to use, the designs I'm going to be creating today are straight lines. So if you feel like you have difficulty with straight lines, then something like this would definitely be an option for you. You just have to be really careful when you're filling in with the glass glitters so that you're not having it you know, kind of overflow on the lines. So that would be the only thing. But otherwise, these could work really well. Or even if you have other types of designs where you just want to add lines to your designs, like a stained glass technique or something like that, you can definitely use something like this. And again, just be careful not to let the areas in between overflow and you're good to go. All right, so let me get myself all ready and we'll get started. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to create my design, and as I mentioned, it's going to be kind of a modern, but it's also kind of a twist on a, maybe even like an Art Deco style, because we're just going to be creating a simple geometric kind of starburst kind of look here. So I'm going to be using, I couldn't decide if I wanted to use gold or silver, so I'm actually going to be doing both, and then we can decide at the end which one actually looks better. But so I have my Serenade Relief. This is my outliner from Pebeo. It's an acrylic outliner, and this is in silver. And I also have the gold, which is actually the King Gold, so it's a bit of a brighter gold. And as always, if you're looking for links for these products, check out the description under the YouTube video and just scroll down, and you'll see I have tons of links in there of the brands that I like and the products used in this video. All right, so to get started, again, as I said, if you feel more comfortable, you can use nail tape or some other type of way of creating straight lines. Again, I'm just going to be winging it here, so hopefully it works out. So I've already kind of marked out a few spots where I want the lines. Up moving some of the lines because once I drew the lines in, or sorry, the dots, because once I drew the lines in, the dots seem like they were not in the right place. So again, if you're using the tape, this would actually be a little bit easier because you could easily just kind of pick up the tape and move it as you need to. And but in this case, this will work for what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and get the gold one done because I need to leave this to dry. So we'll get both of those painted, and then I'll be back to start with the glitter. So we have our gold and silver lined now. They're not dry yet. I'm going to leave them for a few minutes, but I wanted to quickly talk about these outliners because I've had a lot of questions about them. So it is possible, like when you get these, they're supposed to be obviously, you know, fresh paint, and it's supposed to flow very easily through the nozzle. So, but I have been getting people messaging me about, you know, that they're getting them and they're finding that they're, you know, really difficult to kind of apply pressure to. So I just wanted to show you what a new one looks like. So this is a new one here, and when you get it, it should be sealed like this. All right, and so what you'll need to do is puncture that when you're ready to use it. So I usually use a pair of scissors and just kind of poke a hole in there, a pretty big hole. Like you want to puncture the entire seal that's there. If you make just a pinhole, it may also contribute to why the pressure is a little bit more. But I usually just take my scissors and just kind of puncture a big hole. Let's see if I have one that's open to show you. So this one here, you can see like the whole thing is punctured. So there you go. So you can see the big hole in there. And so once you do that, once you puncture the hole, you would put the nib back on, and you don't need to cut this, like unless there's different kinds, you know, around the world where they're sending these with sealed nibs. The nibs, every time I've ever opened one, the nib has a hole in it. So it's already, you know, has a hole, and you can just start using it right away. So for example, as you can see, like these ones I've actually used a few times already, and you can see that they're still fluid. And I'll show you, let's grab a tissue here. So you can see I'm not going to be applying a lot of pressure, and it just flows out like super smooth. Like I'm barely, you know, pressing on it, and it's flowing out. So it should flow out really easily. If it's not, like if you're finding that you're having to squeeze really hard to get the paint out, first check to make sure the hole on the inside of what I was showing you there, the puncture area, the seal is, you know, opened properly. And also make sure that there isn't anything clogged in this nozzle. So usually I take like a sewing pin. I don't know if I have one here right now, but usually I take a sewing pin, and I'll just like not a bobby pin, the sewing ones with the big ball on the end. I usually take one of those and I stick it in here to kind of make sure that the tip is, you know, cleared. So this way it's not getting caught. It can definitely get clogged, you know, if you use it and then you know, put it away, like you put the cap back on and you leave it till next time. Sometimes this can get clogged, and that would definitely affect the pressure that you need to press to get the paint out. So just make sure that the nozzle is clean. But otherwise, like if it's a brand new, you know, tube of paint that you've gotten and you're trying to use it and you're finding you're pressing, and the pressure, you have to put a lot of pressure on it, something's wrong. Like, and sometimes that happens. It just happens sometimes if, you know, stores have old stock. definitely just contact the store and let them know that, you know, the paint is not working, you know, that maybe it's old, you need a, you know, an exchange or something like that. So just want to let you guys know that you shouldn't be applying a lot of pressure in order to get the paint out. So I just want to clarify that, because I know a lot of people are confused and they're thinking that, you know, I have some kind of human strength, which I don't, believe me. So it should flow very easily. And I do have a video, I'll link it at the end of this video, where I do have alternatives as well. Like I've tested a bunch of alternatives, just different types of paint, fabric paints, and different types of acrylic paints. And I do have suggestions on alternatives if for some reason you don't, you know, if you don't like these, or if you can't find them readily available in your area. I do have a video where I show the alternatives for this as well. So there you go. All right. Anyways, so I'm going to go and let these dry for a bit, and then I'll be back to add our gloss. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to dry, let's mix our glass glitters and get them prepped. So I'm going to be using my DuraClear gloss varnish, and I'm going to just pour some in these cups. So my idea is that we're going to have kind of a symmetrical pattern on these. So, you know, a color in the middle, and then the same color here, and the same, you know, matching colors on these spots and matching colors on these spots. So I'm thinking that I'm going to, I might actually do just all kinds of testing, do one of each. So I might start with the pink in the middle, and then go to, you know, the rose gold kind of color, then the champagne color, and then the white. And then the other one I might do the flip. So I'm not sure which one's which yet, but for now we can just mix up our glass glitters. So you can see, just look how pretty those are. And I'm putting those right into my gloss varnish so that we can literally just paint them right onto the coaster. So I'll go ahead and do this. And if we need more, we'll mix more. Back. And if you couldn't tell from earlier when while I was painting, that I'm kind of disappointed what's happening with the colors on this coaster. So I've decided to kind of do something different on the gold one because I don't want to do the same thing on this one. We'll see how these colors turn out, but I'm not thoroughly happy with what's happening here. So instead, what we're going to do is we'll change the video into a little bit more of a comparison between, these glass glitters, as much as they're gorgeous. I mean, you can see it's already starting to dry and you can just see the sparkle is awesome. But let's compare that to just using glitter. Obviously, it will still be sparkly. It won't have the same dimension in terms of the 3D-ness of the glass, but we'll do the gold one as a comparison and we'll see which one we like better. Obviously, this one has the gold on it, but in any case, I think we'll be fine. So what I want to do is I tried matching each of the glass glitters with another glitter that I have, and I was trying to use only one brand, but unfortunately I couldn't find all the colors or even similar enough colors within one brand. So we'll just be using a few here. Okay, so I have my colors mixed here, so you can see them. I don't know if you can see the original. So I kind of mixed them to get them somewhat close to what we had. They may not be an exact match, but close enough. And then for the middle, I actually changed it. And I might continue to change it. I changed it to a mix of this Advanced Metallics white brass. It's a metal glitter, so I changed it to that. I did add a little bit of the chunky glitter to it as well, just to kind of give it a little bit of, some of that extra glitter, because these ones are going to have it. So we shall see how it all turns out. So I'm going to go ahead and go into a time lapse and get this all painted, and then we're going to let them dry. And before we add resin to them, I'm going to compare them to see how they look before. Okay, so we're back, and here are the two coasters. So this is the one with the gold that I went in and I just added just regular glitters in. So I kind of custom made my colors to get them to match what the packages of the colors look like. So, this is basically what I intended the coaster to look like, how the colors worked out. But then this is what actually, after we mix these glitters with the varnish, these are the colors we ended up with. So everything is dry now. And so I really like the effect of the glass on this. Like it has that kind of a druzy kind of effect to it, which is beautiful in terms of the texture. But the colors, I'm actually, I got to admit, I'm kind of disappointed with how the colors changed and how, you can see in the cups here, how the pigments, however they were colored, is just, shedding basically off of the glass. And I have contacted Just Resin via Instagram, and I will send them an email as well, just to ask them if, maybe did I get a bad batch, or maybe this is what normally happens, or maybe it's just because this is not how it was intended to be used. I don't know. I'm not sure which answer is the correct answer here in terms of why it's doing this, but as an artist, it's really important to me that products, perform properly. Like they basically, like if this is the color, or even this one, like if this is the color I'm expecting it to be when I, by looking at the package, then that's the color I'm hoping it's going to be when I actually place it down. So same thing with this one here. Like I said, it went more hot pink. So on this one, this is the color scheme I was hoping to get, but this is what we ended up with. So in that sense, I'm disappointed. The actual glass themselves is really beautiful, but how the colors changed is what is disappointing me in this. So again, and maybe it's because it wasn't intended to be used with gloss varnish, but as an artistic medium, I would think that it would be. Maybe it's just the fact that we put it in the gloss varnish and we stirred it and we kind of agitated it, and it actually caused the colorant to shed or bleed off of it. So if it's that, then what it actually makes me want to do it, I'm going to do a test in resin as well, because I'm thinking that maybe the intention was that you take these and you place them on, let's say, your geode or whatever it is you're creating, or you just dump them right into your resin, and you're not really expected to mix them. You're just expected to kind of put them in and just leave them be, and then the color won't shed off of it. I'm thinking that's maybe the case, but I'm going to test it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cover these, top coat both of these in resin, just so we see what the final look would look like. And I'm also going to take some of these glitters and I'm going to do two tests. One is going to be just, putting them in resin, not agitating them, not stirring them, not doing anything, just putting them in and putting resin on them. And then another one where I'm actually going to stir them in resin in little cups or whatever, and then pour those into maybe another mold of some sort, and then see if we get that same bleeding effect or not. I don't know. We'll see. It's a test. We'll see what happens. But in any case, it's a learning experience. Here we go. We're experimenting and trying new things. And this is all part of the process of working with any art medium, not just resin products. It's with any medium. We always just do our tests and see what we can do with them. And you guys know, if you've been watching me for a while, I like pushing the boundaries of how we use a lot of our mediums. I like doing the unexpected. I like doing things that maybe they weren't intended for. And the reason for that is partially for this, but partially because I just like knowing the extent and the flexibilities and, what we can do with the mediums that we use. So anyway, I'm going to go into a time lapse because obviously when I work with resin, I'm going to be having all of my gear on. I'm going to have my full respirator mask, my gloves, everything. My exhaust fan is going to be running. And so now I've actually took these out of the mold. They now have their top coats. They have two top coats on them. I did the one in the mold and then I took it out and I did a dome coat on top of it, or like a second top coat on top of it. So just so that I can kind of have the finished look, just to kind of know how everything looks when it's done. So as you can see, we're going to just quickly compare. So as you can see, the colors again, so these are the actual colors that I got when I mixed the glass glitter with the gloss varnish. So these are the colors we ended up with. And again, you can see that these are quite different than the colors even from the packages. So like this color is supposed to be this color, and this this color is supposed to be this color, and this color is supposed to be this color. It seems like the darker colors are more affected. The lighter ones, it's a bit off, but not nearly as much as the darker ones. So definitely a pigmentation thing is the concern here. So, and this one here is just when I made my own versions of these colors using the glitters that I have. So I tried to match as best as I could. This one's a bit lighter, and then just try to get close enough matches so you guys can actually get an idea of what I wanted the coaster to look like, what the original idea was. So that was actually the colors I wanted. And these are the colors that I got. Now, again, this is based upon mixing it with gloss varnish. So then I did a test here where on this coaster here, I didn't do anything. I basically poured resin into the coaster mold, and then I just literally took these right from the package and sprinkled them right into the mold. I didn't do any mixing or anything like that, just let them just kind of sit in the resin. And then I did just add, I only did one coat on this one, so we can actually take this out. They've been sitting in the mold for a while. This mold is damaged, and I used it because I knew I wasn't going to be doing anything with these. So it was more of a test. So there we go. So as we can see, if we compare them, we still have a bit of a color difference there, but it's not as drastic as comparing to these ones. I mean, it's in between. So it's in between what it's supposed to look like and in between what it looked like when we use the varnish. So, and it doesn't, like the bleeding that we were talking about, it doesn't look like it bled at all, really. Like it just changed the color, but it didn't really bleed in the resin. So pouring it straight into resin and not agitating it at all seems to be okay. So there's that one. And then I have this one, which is where I mix them in the cups. So you can see the cups are here actually. So this is, I mixed them with resin in the cup, and then I poured those here. So you can see, and again, it does seem like you can even tell from the cup that it was losing some color. So definitely agitating them, stirring them seems to affect how the color comes off, even in resin. It's not nearly as bad when you compare it to the gloss varnish, what happened to the glitter, but you can see there is a bit of color loss. So I'll switch those. And in terms of the colors, it's the same kind of thing. Like you can, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this is a brighter hot pink than this, kind of leans a bit more towards that fuchsia color. So we are, and this ended up taking over this, so I can't really tell perfectly how much that changed there. But the colors are similar, but these are a little bit brighter, like because again, they were starting to lose their color a bit. So we have that. So definitely if you want to use these and just use resin with them, you will get a closer color match and less color loss going directly with resin, which is probably what the intention of these are. Again, I'm just disappointed that they can't be more versatile, that I couldn't use them with my gloss varnish without such a huge color change. But so they're, like I said, they can work with resin. Just keep in mind that the color may be slightly different once they're in resin compared to what you see on the package, right? So that's what we're basically comparing here. And I mean, that's not atypical for when you're working with resin. A lot of mica powders and certain pigments do also kind of have variations when they're in resin and things like that. So it's not, totally out of context that could happen. It's just, again, I don't find that usually happens with glitters. And I think that's why it surprises me, because usually with glitters, what you see is what you get, and you don't really have too many different issues with them. But in any case, I have reached out to Just Resin, and they did contact me back saying they acknowledge receiving my message, but they haven't gotten back to me about whether or not they believe this is, maybe I just got a bad batch, or if this is something that normally happens. So I don't have an answer for you right now in terms of that. It's mostly, I just want to kind of, this is not the way of the video I expected it to go, to be honest. I expected to, have some beautiful coasters with this coloring, but in, this texture. And again, I do love that druzy texture look. If I was doing this again, I wouldn't do it on a black background. Again, we did this because we were testing it, but I would do it on a lighter color background, because you can see, I don't know if you can tell here, you can see some of the black through some of the crystals. So I'd probably go with either a white or a silver background on these, and then you wouldn't see that as much. So that's the only thing I would change. And then obviously if you're using darker crystals, you could use a black background. So, but I do really like, how it looks, like in terms of the texture, the sparkle. I do like it. Like, I think it has that druzy effect to it, which is really nice. like I said, it's just the colors. So, but I do love the colors and even the sparkle. I mean, this one just, it's beautiful with the sparkle and the glitter. So, but it's the colors, like that's really what I wanted to accomplish with these. Anyways, guys, that is the video. And so like I said, if you want to use these, I definitely think you can. Just be wary, especially of the darker colors, that they could possibly bleed. And if you are going to use them in resin, just, you know, use them straight on your piece or pour them straight into the resin and try not to move it around too much. Just because, you know, we don't know how much they could possibly be bleeding. So, and we don't want any color loss, and you really just want to, you know, get as close to the original color as possible. So just keep that in mind. And definitely I wouldn't advise, unless you're just using maybe like the silver, I wouldn't advise using the gloss varnish for these, because I mean, just look at the colors, how the color changed so much. So so it's good to know the limitations of products sometimes. This way you know when to use it and when not to use it. I mean, that's all part of the experiments that we do. So I hope this helped you guys out if you were planning to use products like these. And yeah, I mean, every day with resin is a learning process. We're always learning something new. We're always, you know, that's why I like to try different things to see, you know, what we end up with and, you know, what works and what doesn't work. And then we know what we can do. So in any case, guys, I hope you like this tutorial. Like I said, it's not the way I expected it to go, but I think we learned a lot from it. So it was worth it. And anyway, so if you like this tutorial, don't forget to leave me a comment below. If you have similar experiences with products like this, or even another product, let me know, because, you know, we need to have these conversations. So this way, you know, we know what we're buying, we know what we're working with. And if we can share these experiences, you know, if there is another product out there that you want me to test and try, I'll see if I can do that, because like I said, any information I can share with you guys, I think is helpful for all of us. So anyways, I'm going to get going. If you do decide to try, you know, this design or this technique, or I don't know, something from this video, feel free to tag me on Instagram and use my hashtag. It's LiaDia inspired me, and I'll see you